Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Tilly, Lily, and the Universe. And this episode is about spiritual awakening. I think a lot of people currently on the planet are going through this, and probably more and more in the next years. And we would like to talk about the experience of what it is, how you would define it, and when did it start for you, and also especially the positive and negative effects on your life, because it can be intense also, and how your relationship with others might have changed. And yeah, just reflect on it with each other, and I hope it might help you in your process. So the first question is, what is a spiritual awakening for you? How would you define it? So I will ask Lily, what is your perspective on, or the definition of spiritual awakening?
Yo, first of all, good to be back and good to share as always. And yeah, today the topic is quite deep, and let's dive. Deep topic, deep questions, deep answers. So, spiritual awakening, first of all, I think would be good for me to define what spirituality is means for me because people have different perspectives on what it is. So, for me, spirituality is everything that is intangible, intangible information, meaning it's emotions, feelings, thoughts, which is energy. So, all the energies, it's dreams, it's like lucid dreaming. All those metaphysical experiences. That's what, for me personally, is spirituality. So, spiritual awakening, then naturally, for me, is like awakening to the fact that here's more to this world and to this existence rather than just material hedonistic existence. It's awakening to the fact that we are all connected energetically. It's awakening to the fact that telepathy is real and that's how we are also connected to one another. Those small epiphany moments, those are the spiritual awakenings for me. And also it's kind of awakening to the fact that, yeah, literally, that the spirit is everywhere, that everything, all that is spirit. Because in physical world we have four elements like fire, air, earth, and what else I forgot. uh Four elements.
Water.
Oh, yeah, water, fire, ground, and air. So these are four physical elements, and in all of those four physical elements, there's the spirit uniting those all. So for me, this is a spiritual awakening, just waking up to the reality that my body has spirit, or I would say my spirit has body. So yeah, that's it.
Nice, clear answer. Yeah, I think for me it would be the same. The fact that you just become so much more aware of everything, and you start to question things which before you took for granted as this is how it is, and then more and more you wonder, why is it so, or why am I feeling this, or where is this thought coming from, or who am I in general. And I think yeah, seeing everything in a different light would be for me the definition. And can you find a point when it started for you? Was that like an intense event that you just made a switch, or was it all a gradual process in your life?
How to say, it's a tricky question, tricky answer, because Now at this point I am very aware that I was always spiritual, and the spirit was all has been always communicating with me even when I was a kid. Especially when I was a kid, I was the
Mhm.
most connected to spirit.
Yeah.
But the conscious awareness that I am connected to spirit happened in 2018. And before that, I was taking all of those experience for granted, because in my childhood I was communicating with Jesus. Then later on, he was always like, I was always having that. I have been having that voice within me that is coaching me on life, big life questions, and I thought it's normal. Jesus was my invisible, and still is my invisible best friend. And that's, as a child, I thought it's normal. And later on, when I was growing up and trying to fit in into the societal communities, let's say like that, I started explaining myself and giving excuses to myself that I just have a brilliant imagination. ah I just love talking with myself. I thought I'm just a little bit different, that's why, without being aware that no, it was spirit. So yeah, my huge spiritual awakening, when I had zero doubts anymore that I am communing with the spirit, was in 2018, when I met a man who literally activated all my spiritual m- memory, I would say.
Mhm. Super cool.
And how for you? Have you always been spiritual or spiritually aware, I would say?
Yeah, I think it's a bit the same. As a kid, it was quite normal, and you just, for example, I had telepathic experiences, or sometimes I could dream about an event that would happen. Or I also had an imaginary friend. I still don't know what that exactly means, but it might be some contact with another dimension. You never know. But indeed, it's also normal. And at some point, yeah, you start to feel a bit uh, like, oh, maybe the crazy person. Um, so I think I always had this awareness, and I was always quite centered. But at some point, I started to doubt myself more and more and more with the people you surround yourself with. And then probably when I was feeling quite down for a long time, when I was 21, so that's 9 years ago, I and I started again with, well, not again. I started for the first time in my life with meditation and conse- consequent. You said it, yeah, like every day. That is when probably things started to shift, and I became super aware. And then I realized that, again, what you just said. You memorize. Um, no, you remember. That's it. That you always had these qualities, and that it's not weird.
Yeah.
And I started also to see number 911, because people often say 444 or 555, 666, whatever is
Or
angel number.
1111.
Yeah, 1111 also, but 911 was for me. I woke up like every day at some point at that time, and I started seeing it everywhere, and it became so often that I thought to myself, I'm gonna Google it, because I feel like it means something. And then indeed, yeah, I think a lot of numbers are angel numbers, but this one is also quite powerful, and it, yeah, made me realize, aha, there's communication with me from some higher dimension.
Looks
Yeah,
looks like Tilly needs some sauce help. Hey, 911,
yeah,
911.
yeah, that is
I need
true.
help.
I do feel that the number has some sort of weird connotation due to it being the alarm number, but it's also a number to the angels. Yeah.
Mm,
Um,
okay, beautiful.
so that was, yeah, was it for me. And of course, I do feel it's a gradual process. For it's still ongoing, of course, to peel off the layers, as people say sometimes, of the onion, and of your old self. I have one friend though. She had a very sudden awakening, like from just reading one book of Deepak Chopra to her whole world was at some point one, and she became so connected with all that she really lost the touch with her experience of her body. Um, and she's still sort of recovering from that because it was so intense. So it can happen sometimes that people have a really sudden, powerful awakening, but it's only the one story that I heard in my life, and mostly it's more gradual process. So that I wanted to share. Now the question: how does it affect you positively and negatively? Because of course there are a lot of wins in becoming more awake. Well, maybe only wins, but on the way to the wins, it sometimes feels a bit shaky and not so fun. Do you have any experiences to share on this?
I mean, there are many. Okay, first of all, before I continue, I want to make sure that people who are watching, that um, in case people are watching who don't believe in spirituality, I want to say that you can still apply this information and see everything that we share. You can see through the perspective of uh, personal growth and development. So if you're into this, the same laws, almost the same laws apply. So check with that. And now, when it comes to positives and negatives of spiritual awakening, everything in life is duality, right? Still,
It's
yeah,
true. Yeah. In
yeah.
this
So let's
3D world,
what?
in this 3D dimension.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So let's start from the good one then. Positive sides. No, let's start from the dark side, from the negatives, so then we can reach the light at the end of the tunnel and
Okay,
speak
sounds
about the
good.
good. Yeah, so spiritual awakening has pretty heavy energy, even though spiritual sounds like supposed to be something turbo easy and turbo fun, but
Mhm.
it's not. Not that easy, not that beautiful at the beginning. So, first, what it costs is experience of a lot of judgment and experiencing a lot of shame and guilt as a result of judgments, from the judgments from the closest, especially from the closest environment, meaning from friends, from associates at work, and especially from family members. But there is no growth without shame and guilt. And that's why people, so many people, they stop growing and they give up on this path of self-development, on spiritual awakening, because they don't want to feel shame and guilt, because those two feelings are the lowest vibration of all, according to science. And it's pretty heavy to go through this dark night of the soul. Actually, all of this heavy experience is called dark night of the soul, that happens around each 30 year of human existence, when the biggest transformation happens on a soul level. So yeah, so let's see, judgments and experiencing shame and guilt, but we need to persevere and go through that and feel all of that and still choose what the best for us, what our heart says. Second, cost of spiritual awakening is uh, more conflicts started happening with people around us, including friends, family members, and probably co-workers as well. And why is that? It's because when we grow and we change as a result of that, we start triggering people like no tomorrow. And we start, as more light we start embodying, as more our light triggers the shadow in other people. Meaning, if I choose to grow and others choose to stay stagnant, they will do their best to pull me down to their level. Because why? Because people don't want to lose attachment, because they feel comfortable having you in their space. And I will give you the example. And now I'm inviting people to um, imagine a bucket of water where a bunch of crabs live, right? And those crabs live there, let's say, for 20 years, 27, 28 years. And then one crab says that, hey, it gets too boring to live here. It must be something bigger outside of that box. So that crab starts climbing the walls. And what happens then? All the rest tribe of crabs run after that one poor crab and drag down. And this is a societal experiment, scientific experiment is made. How people, how creatures, different creatures, including people, behave in society, in communities. And that's what happens. People get used to one another, they get attached emotionally, mentally to one another. And when that one person starts leaving, all the fears are activated in those who don't have courage to leave the tribe. Does it resonate with you, Tile?
Yeah, for sure. I also had some experiences in which I would say that sometimes when you feel very confident about something, so not per se leaving a group, but just in general, that you can tell that it might trigger other people's insecurities, and it sometimes reflects in something not so nice they say to you. And I think that's is similar to the, yeah, they want in a way to keep you in the position as what they had in mind for you or how you were. Um, so that definitely resonates.
Yeah, and as a result of this experience of starting to trigger people a lot, and you mentioned very well, we don't need to leave a pack in order to trigger people. The leaving itself can be exactly just leaving mentally, leaving emotionally, because we just change how we perceive the world, perceive
Mhm.
everything. So that kind of leaving also is leaving. And as more we become spiritually awake, I would say, as more we become more confident, because our confidence comes from deep knowing the truth of who we are and
Mhm.
how we are, and that
Yeah,
the spirit has our back, right?
definitely. And if you realize that everything is a thought, then a thought like, oh, I'm not good enough, also disappears because it's a thought. So you definitely become more confident with awareness, growing awareness.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's people who struggle with the self confidence, they start projecting their own fears and insecurities and their own belief systems even onto you. And that's
Mm-hmm.
my recent experience also when I realized that I was judged by another friend in silence. It was never spoken, but I always felt I started feeling some resistance. It's like I cleansed myself from friends that, okay, that's another topic. But I started feeling judgment and I was like, what's up with that? And then I realized that a person, I mean, he spoke that to me that I triggered belief systems that had nothing to do with how I am. It was a reflection about him. And yeah, that's literally the same happens with our friends and with our family members. And as a result of this triggering, we get to experience more conflicts. And this looks like a, a house, a storm before the calm, before the new dawn comes, right? So we need to go because it's like a massive purging. We are purging out all e- emotions, all negative thoughts that we get from other people, bombarded from
Mm-hmm.
them. In that process, we learn how to set boundaries, everything. So those triggers will cause to lose friends also.
Yep.
And for me, it was massive, especially the last few years when I was just dropping one friend after another because I realized I don't resonate with that level of judgment. I don't resonate with that level of gossiping. I mean, I realized that all the time I was gossiped about behind my back. All that time I was judged, and all of that was not spoken to me, or even it was spoken to me, but it was such a projection of another person. And I dropped a lot of people from my life. Um, and as a result of that, then the good things happen that I will speak later. So, yeah, literally losing friends and somebody I know that they lost their family as well because family was just too toxic to accommodate new changes in the person. In my case, I thought that I'm losing my family. I even accepted the fact that, okay, I'm going this path without my family, uh, when actually it was a temporary fallout, which was very needed for all of us to go to different corners and simply heal what is unhealed. And now we are coming back together again, just with the family. Also, the dynamic changes. The way I used to relate to my family members, no more. The same with some friends can happen. Some friends can come back from separation from the past, but it's you are not going to relate in the same way as you used to because you are not the same as you used to be. Does it make sense? Did you lose some friends on your path?
Yeah, for sure. But I think also people that didn't really resonate with all my desire to talk about spiritual stuff or mantra singing in general, also different interests. But it was also a way of looking at life, which was sometimes more negative, in my opinion. And then didn't always felt comfortable. So some point, I thought, okay, why am I still hanging out if it doesn't make me feel super uplifted? Um, yeah, and then it's easier to let go. yeah, it's also a thought that was keeping me with them, that I had to, because they were friends for so long, and it was a sort of expectation I felt from how you behave, and that if you're invited for a party, you go. But at some point, if you become more aware, you start to realize, oh, that's just a thought. That's also a thought from society and my parents. Oh, wait, it's not. I don't have to do anything with it if it doesn't resonate. And yeah, that's very freeing. So I can relate with what you say.
So you pointed very well, but we will talk later. You started living more from the heart. Your heart started
Yeah,
being your guidance
it's
system.
true. Not the mind that has ideas about certain things, how they should be, but what do you feel?
What
Yeah.
feels right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Not
exactly.
what feels good, but what feels right. Because
Um,
leaving friends or family members never feels good, right?
it's indeed that's a very tricky thing. Yeah. Same with, but this might be another topic. Doing something that you're scared of. Sometimes it doesn't feel good, but it is a good decision to put yourself out of the comfort zone. So indeed, but it's hard to tell sometimes if it's what feels right or what's
But
the
it's
best.
a school of life.
Yeah, well, infinite school. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay,
Okay.
a few more things that feel what it cost to go through spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
It's uh, it's like a lot of, yeah, like losing friends, and also what you mentioned, losing interests, because we stop resonating with all the habits, all the behaviors, all the activities, and
Hmm.
it is a result of us spending more time in solitude, whether voluntary solitude or forced, because life
Hmm.
will happen if you run away from connecting to self. Life will happen that will force you to stop and be in silence and stillness. That's what happened to me. I was running like no tomorrow.
Yeah. Seeking
And
distractions everywhere.
yeah, yeah, and then I just had no other choice just to stay still. And in that solitude time, our DNA changes, our
Mm.
cells change because we change our habits and who we relate to. So then, when we in that solitude time, depressions, very common experience to go through depressions, because everything in life starts crumbling down,
Mhm.
all belief systems, all what we knew how life was. People suddenly don't understand us, and we don't
Yeah.
understand what is happening with the people and with us. And it really puts into depression if we don't have a proper support system, which I never had actually. Now I started getting it more and more. But yeah, that feels very heavy, and then all fears and the feeling of not belonging comes up, because suddenly you're out of the community and you're alone. So for me, spiritual awakening I see as a hero's journey. You need to
Mm.
go alone through that.
Yep.
uh, and then, as you mentioned actually at the beginning of episode, when your friend suddenly experienced spiritual awakening and it was hard for her to connect to her body. So, this is another thing that happens, a lack of groundedness. When
Mm.
we realize that everything is spirit and that our perception of life suddenly changes, we lose the ground from under our feet, and we operate more in a spiritual realm. So then it becomes very hard to take care of our physical needs, including finances. So it's difficult to focus. um, so yeah, this can be very harmful. And the last thing, oh, be sure that the universe will test you, and it will test like no tomorrow. I love this expression, I know. Like no tomorrow. But as more we grow spiritually, as more tests the universe will bring us to see if we learned the lesson from the past.
Do
And
you have oh, sorry, don't want to
tell
interrupt.
tell me.
No, I'm just curious if you have a clear example of this. It probably happens every day in small amounts, but maybe you have something that stood out.
Yeah, I have, and actually I'm going through that myself
Right
now.
now.
Yeah, through the major probably test.
Mm.
Um, okay. Uh, who knows? Who doesn't know? I'm very into astrology also. So as Aries rising, now I'm going through the same process of the 2.5 years as the Pisces. So I asked my friend who is Pisces rising how her last 2.5 years looked like. And seeing her mistakes, what happened, and what she did and what she didn't do, I have a roadmap of what not to do.
Mm. Nice.
and and the example is when it comes to relationships, if the lesson about self-worth is not learned, then life will bring you the same type of person. And if you give into that temptation, like for example, extreme sexual attraction, if you give into that when your spirit says, red flag, red flag, red flag, the consequences, you don't want to even think about those. It's like my friend got a baby and now she's a single mother. And the lesson for her was to connect to self and find courage and confidence in her own masculine, inner masculine, and step into her role, her life purpose, soulful purpose. But because she didn't do that, she was too insecure and she didn't have a proper support uh, that could help her. That's why she was chasing after the external masculine.
Mm.
And that's where it ended up. So the lesson was not learned, the consequences are very clear.
But then I wonder, and again, don't want to get too much off topic, but don't you think that maybe some people say on a soul, um, wait, I have to explain it clearly. Before you come here, you make a plan also a bit for your soul. So wasn't this baby anyway, part of her experience in this life? Or would you really say, okay, it's just because she didn't learn her lesson, now she has a baby? Like it feels as if it's randomly that it happened. But I wonder if
It's
that's
a
possible.
very good question.
Okay.
It's a very good question that probably I could speak for the next episode,
Okay, let's leave it for
but
now then.
but shortly.
Yeah.
Uh, if you ask me personally, and many people might not agree with that, and actually, okay. So, in my strong belief, everything is predestined. As I am into astrology, I just obviously see that, come on, it's everything is
No free will.
written in the stars. No free will, a little bit of free will, how you do things, but not what the consequence will be. Something
Mm.
like that, or not, or maybe you can lower, minimize, or make bigger consequences, something like that. But yeah, I believe that soul contracts exist and that it was her soul contract
Mm.
because she refused to learn that lesson, because she chose her life um, to learn these lessons.
Yeah.
So, and I believe that we are now spiritually awakening because to minimize karmic lessons that we go
Mhm.
through. So it means as more people awaken, the future generations especially, as more people will be aware of those lessons, it means as less suffer we will experience as humanity because
Yeah.
people will not do those mistakes.
Okay. So for the bigger whole, it has an impact. Yeah. But yeah, I feel indeed it's probably for another time maybe cool to dive into. For now, I would say, do you still have something to share about the very positive aspect of your awakening?
I want to hear from you
Yeah.
how your let's say negative side of spiritual awakening looks like.
Well, I think it's mostly positive, but of course you have some bumps in the road maybe on the way to something better. But I think it was mostly realizing that everything in life that you thought was true wasn't. So also my parents, in a sense, you can say, are just a reflection of me and a thought as well, and this illusion. So all those things that you used to hold on to as real are not real. And that is very freeing, but it's also a bit sad because, yeah, it feels like you maybe grieve about some things that you realize are not real. If that makes sense. But then,
Yeah.
of course, the other side of that, the other side of the coin, is the freedom you feel, and yeah, that there's only one consciousness. So losing people, I would say, is at first a bit sad, but in general, even the parts on working on yourself and bringing up the dark side, as they say, I find it in a way fun. Like on itself, it's a bit tough sometimes, but I rather have that than just unconsciously continuing with my super unconscious behavior. So it's also fun to bring those patterns to the light and transmute them. So yeah, so far it's not. I don't think there's too much negative about the spiritual awakening, although it may seem like that at first, as if your life is falling apart for some people. Yeah. So then the question, if you
To
could go
bring
back,
some positive light, right?
what? What did you
To
say?
bring some positive light about spiritual
Yeah.
awakening.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
because I'm a Turbo Scorpio by the chat, so I love diving deep into the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
It's my stuff. But yeah, every all the darkness serves to the light. And
Well,
tell me,
no, I agree on itself in the relative level, the triggers, the fights, maybe the losing people. Of course, it seems all a bit dark, but it is for a better feeling, more lighter, shining more lights. So yeah, it's serving its purpose. Yeah.
yeah, and wait a second, something disappeared. The thought.
Oh,
So okay, the positives. The positives are, oh, the positive with you, for example, my experience with you. When I met you, I still, by this day, I could talk and talk and talk and talk endlessly with you. I just
yeah.
enjoy, and it's something does to my body, physical body, those chills, that energy flows when I am interacting with you, when I have the opportunity to speak, to share, to listen to you as well. And this is a very awesome part because when we cleanse our environment from judgmental people, from people who don't support us, who just we don't resonate anymore with that different mindset that we are living, then we make space for new to
Mm-hmm.
come.
Yeah.
And after
Yeah,
that
definitely.
solitude time, which is the void,
Mm-hmm.
when we wait there, then after some time, new people start filling that void, and new people who represent the new version of us.
Yeah.
So this is fun part because then among those people, I feel myself fully, that I can be myself, who understand me, who don't judge me, who support me. And this is very important if we want to achieve
Mm.
something in life, bigger goals, bigger tasks. So, another thing is spiritual awakening supports our bigger soulful mission, because
Yeah.
when we awaken spiritually, then inevitably we are inviting our soul tribe. And the purpose for that soul tribe is to support us to step into our purpose. So then we start working in life what we love instead of what we have to. So we start earning money from our passions, from our talents, and we feel that we bring value into this world. So it just overall general feeling of fulfillment
Mm.
and love and joy that comes together.
Beautiful. Yeah, that sounds beautiful. I agree. So now then the question: would you go back, take the red or blue pill now that you know all this, even the hard parts of the process? But how you just ended this story seems to me as if it's way more fun in the.
Wait a
I
second,
forgot
which pill
again.
is which? Yeah, which pill is which?
I forgot again. I thought the red pill was
uh,
being awake, and the
yeah, I
blue
think so.
is the unconscious one. Even kijken.
You will find it, right?
I hope. Uh, yeah, blue is staying in the ordinary, and the red is diving into the spiritual awakening. I would go for the red for sure.
Yeah, indeed, me too. Even though at how to say, at times I have moments when I think to myself that maybe I should take a blue pill, because especially back in the past, I felt like that when I started seeing much more and becoming much more aware in life. I started seeing things that I didn't want to see about people that I was keeping close to my heart, and it was
Mm,
really emotionally hard for me to accept the truth of what was happening. And I thought, if I just have that blue pill, I would just continuously live in a blissful ignorance and I wouldn't need to experience that pain.
yeah,
But now I can say that I would rather experience that intense emotional pain for a short period of time rather than suffer for a long time. So,
yeah, exactly.
r- red pill gives that a way out exit. It
Mm,
gives it gives a ticket from the matrix, out of from the matrix, but the price is short term uh, painful experiences, let's say like that, for some
hmm.
more painful, for some less. And the blue is like, okay, there is no intense pain, most likely, but you live in misery for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
So, which is better? For me, it's better. Okay, let's do it fast,
the
and I'm done. Yeah.
yeah the sort of lows, but going up every time, and the blue is
Yes.
probably made like this.
I would say it goes even down.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, no, that doesn't sound too fun.
Yeah.
Okay, So we're conclude despite the sometimes the hardships, it's way more fun on the path of spiritual awakening.
Yes, and Tilly, you have something prepared for us, right?
Yes, that's correct. Let me get my guitar. It's a very short song, but it's also about believing in yourself and letting go of the fear. So, hello, my dear. Get rid of all the dirt and fear. 'Cause it's all just a dream, and as real as it may seem, an illusion we create. The mind projects based on its faith, and in this seemingly reality, I choose the thoughts that I want to see. I embrace that what appears and always choose love over fear. So let that be the reminder. Also for myself, because I forget sometimes to choose love instead of fearful thoughts. So then I want to thank you if you watched, and have a great evening.
Wait second.
Thank you,
Wait
Spirit.
second.
Thank
Wait
God.
second. I want
Mhm.
also to say thank you, Tilly, and I want to ask you, was it your song? Like you wrote the lyrics?
Yes. Yes.
So please, next times, let people know I wrote this song. This is my song.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't have a clear title yet, but I hope to put it online soon. Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Mm.
And
Good
thank you
point.
everybody who is watching, who was watching, and who will be watching. So we are done for today. Please go to the replay. It was a wonderful topic to cover. And let us know if you heard something new, if you're going through something like that. Uh, we are here to support you. And that's it.
Okay. Goodbye.